Hello and good day everyone. Today I would like to present about my title paper, uh, namely Environmental Psychological Experimental Method of Human Attribute Associated with Product Appearance Aesthetics. This is the table of content for my presentation for today, which consists of abstract, literature, methods, findings, discussion, and a little bit conclusion. For my title for today, my paper is the abstracts in on how we perceive human social status, or is it based on the intellectual level, based on the job titles, or is it contribute or attribute to the physical product's appearance, to its physical product attachment? So this is one of the experimental methods which this study conduct by using a physical product appearance which exhibit the characteristic in human personality and social rank, and this study determined to examine the overlooked questions of whether product appearance are transferred by association to their psychological honest gender. This method is adapted in environmental psychology, which unveil an identical transference, which were described here as the room effect, which characterize the different interpretation of the same individual's photograph according to various rooms where the image is situated. This study was conducted via online survey, and then it first at the beginning it was employed by a digitally stimuli of human attribute, which consists of male and female faces with their products appearance. In this case, is an image. So a total of 1,078 respondents were involved, and they were asked to rate the owner's physical characteristics, their social attributes based on the stimuli given. So the results for this study indicates that the distinct and unexpected of product effects were revealed, where the perceptions of the genders were most affected, with the female gender were moderately affected. However, from that study, the male gender was not perceived differently conceivably. So this discuss draws upon psychological gender preference to provide a plausible explanation. So this study may provide a new potential of market research methods for application, as well as new research or study that can be done regarding this area. The literature begins with three of the study that have been done in room effects, which concentrate on one. First is on visual identity, and then in motorcycle industry and automotive industries, mainly for cars. So it derived from the method of the room effects from Cantor 1977, which involved the environmental psychology method, which cover the impact of the environment or the person perception on in room. So this room effect approach was used to adapt to the picture stimuli. And as the measure for these methods, we use five-factor model of personality of Big Five by Barry and Mount 1991 and McRae and Costa 1987 and Norman 1963. So the FFM that involved were openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. So this is covered by the area which conclude by the research area of the subject, which are focused on the room effect approach and the FFM of personality traits. So it brings the method, the approach, and the measure to study on these three objects in conclude of the room effects. The nature of the investigation of this study is on the market research strategies in design companies, which is this is a case study of Malaysian motorcycle company. It employs a dual market research method which borrowed from another discipline to empower this research in industrial design, and it will possibly contribute to the new knowledge in industrial practice and experimental statistics. So as I mentioned earlier, it's the methods survey were developed in environmental psychology called the room effects and the semantic differential. The approach consists of three phases, and the first method were using a qualitative approach which cover the semantic differential and multidimensional scaling. And next, the second method is on quantitative, using the room effect and personality traits, which derived for the last actual test, which consists of room effect method. So this study were designed to digitally editing by using an online questionnaire on the website, which involved 1,089 participants from 107 countries by worldwide. So the major countries that involved is respondent from Australia, the second by from India, and United States, and more, which include 107 countries. So the analysis that can be done by using a factor analysis shows that a value of 0.907 is under 0.000, and then the variance total is included by 55.474%, which conclude that two traits were extracted from 16 items consist of physical attributes and personality. So the Cronbach alpha is under 0.770, which conclude that it's a satisfactory level, and the skewness and kurtosis were negative 0.039 and 1.3 something. And it provides the result that when we Yamaha, the model of the motorcycle, confers a higher income compared to the brand with Moderna, and then the male Caucasian model confers higher income, and then the female Caucasian model has more personality, and as well as confers taller and heavier compared to the model with Moderna's motorcycle. So the conclusion there is, does the product have an effect on the person associated with it? Yes, for both human model gender and the nationality. So in this case, it's were completely seen that these were affected more on female compared to male. The discussion from this study mainly state about how the stimuli is using by the empirical methods, and its were creation of a highly controlled design which were used to test specific hypotheses on participants in these surveys. So it's analyzed by using statistical procedures, by using ANOVA and GEE, and it will consist of the collective motivation model of static, which creating a design to test a specific hypothesis regarding prediction based by model. So the conclusion and recommendation from this study were state that it interested in testing claim made in the categorical motivation model that all object categories are not equal. Some objects categories are rich and some are poor, but at the cognitive level, rich categories are more tolerant of novelty than poor object categories. So we do not know what effect rich and poor objects categories have at the perceptual and social level. So research design is to test whether this would have one rich and one poor object category. And number two is a previous cognitive study, and it may possible to extend this into the perceptual and social levels. It is worth observing that in science it can be good to use someone else object categories that have previously been tested. So this will provide an insight into the perceptual and social levels, which will be create a strong research. The third area which interests in this manner is the sensory. This interest or this area of sensory has been neglected in the research on aesthetics, mainly due to the difficulty of designing control stimuli by psychologists. However, designers may have the necessary skills which can be both used to test the visual or distal sense and the haptic of the proximal sense. And this further research need to try to test the haptic if they have easy access to participants, and this test cannot be done by online. So the difference between static responses to purely utilitarian objects categories are purely one of the another aspect that could be considered, which seems a good potential to provide a high-level research publication, and it will involve the creation of a highly control design which can be used to test specific hypotheses on participants in surveys. So this is proof that most of the experimental psychological method which conduct to the studies of the relevant of product appearance aesthetics are still in need of further research to do, and this conclude that there is much area that can be covered, which needs the researcher to take a look at this kind of situation. And that's conclude my presentation for today. Thank you very much for listening, and have a good day, everyone. Thank you.